Hey YouTube, how's it going tonight? The RetroNatics back again. I'm Jose.
And I'm Javier.
And tonight we are going to talk real quick about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now I know this is kind of an older movie, being that it came out December 16th of 2016. This film was directed by Gareth Edwards. And I will let Javier kick us off right now just on his thoughts and opinions on the movie. So go ahead and take it away, man.
Okay, as Jose mentioned earlier, that this is a side story. So really, this isn't part of the overall prequel or the original trilogy. It's more of a side story. And what I mentioned to Jose, like in previous discussions, is that this is more of a... It's a side story in that it actually takes care of a lot of unanswered questions regarding the original trilogy. As fans of the original series, first watching the Star Wars films when we're kids, we're thinking, oh, awesome. Luke goes in there and he throws the torpedo down and he blows up the Death Star. Awesome. Good shot there, Luke. But
yeah, there was really no explanation about it other than, hey, we have these battle plans of the Death Star and we found this weakness in it, but, why is it there? How did they discover it?
So, the reactor module, that's the key. That's the place I've laid my trap.
Right, and as older retro fans, we grow older, we start dissecting these films that we once loved, and in our early 20s, late teens, we start thinking, okay, why was there such a defect in such a powerful station?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was one of the plot holes that fans have been talking about. Why was this so easy to destroy this thing? And here we have like another side story just talking about, okay, that wasn't necessarily a mistake. We have a whole story built around this, this, I guess if you want to call a plot hole, but basically, we have another side story. We get to see a few well-known characters and stuff. But basically, it's just it's fan service. It's a treat for fans, and we get to see a lot of old favorites and stuff, and we get to see new characters as well, and we get treated to another story. Thankfully, when the Disney company basically took over the Star Wars franchise, we went from basically seeing a Star Wars film maybe once every 20 years to maybe once a year and stuff.
Yeah, we're getting one once a year now. Ever since Force Awakens came out. Obviously, in December of this year, we're going to get Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and then next year we're going to get the as of yet untitled, I think, Han Solo movie as well, young Han Solo. So that's something really to look forward to. And then obviously the year after that, we're going to get Episode 9, and hopefully that's going to wrap up the saga about the Skywalkers and the Solos and all that. So,
and I thought I heard that they were going to do a bounty hunter film, Boba Fett. I'm not too sure if they're still going to go through with that. But
that would be really cool. I mean, I would definitely go see that. Who would be casting that? I have no clue. I don't know what it would be about exactly. I don't know how they would do that, but I don't know, man. But Rogue One, my opinion though, I absolutely loved Rogue One. To me, it was how a Star Wars movie should be. I loved. It was dark. It was gritty. It was actually a little bit violent at times. There was that scene where Cassian just blatantly shoots that guy in the back and kills him. So that way the guy either doesn't turn him in or whatever. He just kills him in the alleyway like nothing. Just things like that really added to the emotion and the darkness and grittiness of the movie overall. There was one scene in particular though that really caught my attention. It's when Bodhi Rook meets Saw Gerrera for the first time. And when Saw and him are having their little conversation real quick, Saw pulls out his little oxygen mask or whatever that is, his little life support mask. He puts it on, he begins to inhale and exhale with it. And the very first time I saw that scene, I immediately thought of Darth Vader. The sound it sounded so similar to him. Something about the look on Bodhi's face in that scene, I don't know if anyone caught it or if I'm the only one, but something about the look on Bodhi's face made me think that there was some kind of connection between Bodhi Rook and Darth Vader. Just maybe in the fact that at some time, perhaps since he was a shuttle pilot, that he may have piloted a craft for Darth Vader simply at one point in time in the past. I mean, just not like they had a friendship, like they were boys or anything like that. No, just that Bodhi Rook may have come across Vader at some point in time. And there's just that look of familiarity that comes across his face when Saw Gerrera puts on that mask and begins to breathe. And that just really caught my attention in that moment. It's just something that I noticed. Other things I know even you and I talked about before, the emotional impact of Galen Erso's message to his daughter Jin, the hologram that he sent for her. It's a really emotional scene in which she begins to break down and cry, and I mean that I found that scene very, very touching because he's spent many years away from her, and if you've read the book Catalyst, a Star Wars story by James Luceno, you can also see some of the relationship between Galen and his daughter, and also with Lyra, his wife. It does go into more detail. You get more depth, more character development. I know that critics did hit up Rogue One because they said there really wasn't enough character development. But this is the Star Wars universe, and everyone knows really, if you want to get really good character development, you go into the books and you start reading those. So while I did find James Luceno's book, Catalyst, a little bit boring because it does go into technical details and stuff about Krennic's manipulation of Galen Erso and the secret project to get the Death Star built, and technical science about the Kyber crystals and all that, how they were able to get them devised to be used as a weapon. It's all in the book, but I found it just not quite the same as a regular Star Wars book that I've read. Something by Timothy Zahn or something is different. But still, if you want to get into some good character development, go into that book. You know, it will talk about how Krennic manipulated Galen Erso. It does also talk about the rivalry that is between Krennic and Grand Moff Tarkin, as you can see is obvious in the movie too. There's also in the book about how the Ursos meet Saw Gerrera. And of course, as you know, Saw Gerrera has been around for a little bit. He premiered originally in the Clone Wars animated series. So that's where he made his appearance. And in the book, he does make a very small mention, which to me I thought linked back to Clone Wars. He said something about the price that had been paid for freedom or something. They had already reached that price, or they had paid it already. So to me, that was referencing the death of his sister, because in the Clone Wars, his sister is killed during a rebellion that he leads. And it's a complete accident that it happens, but his guilt is, to me, at least in my opinion, his guilt is what drives him away to become such a fanatical rebel. So, any other thoughts or comments you want to add, man?
Well, I know that these books, they're coming out around the same time as these movies. So I know that when we were given the Force Awakens movie, they decided to kind of just kill any of the canon, like written in books and stuff.
Right.
So all this new series of books right now, it's basically the new canon that they're going with. And this is just another... it's another, I guess, supplementary story to the Rogue One movie and everything.
But something I do like about Rogue One Star Wars story, it brings back so much nostalgia, I guess you could say. You know, we see Grand Moff Tarkin, we see Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia at the very end of the movie. We see someone, Darth Vader. The best scene was at the end when Darth Vader came out and he just tore through those rebels like nothing. We saw the power of the Empire. Obviously, they do test fire of the Death Star at a level that we hadn't seen before. The only time we saw the Death Star in use was in A New Hope, and they used its full power to completely destroy Alderaan. But now in Rogue One, we get to see that they can actually use it at a lesser level and simply do something like destroy a city, same way as we would if we were to nuke a city here on our planet. You also see their strength when Vader's Star Destroyer comes out of hyperspace, and his ship alone just completely obliterates part of the Rebel fleet when they engage him. But we also see other things. We see R2-D2 and C-3PO very briefly. They make a short cameo appearance. We get to see Red Leader, and we also see Gold Leader. We find out what does happen to Blue Squadron, which obviously they made it planet-side to aid Jin and the other rebels down there, but they inevitably, we know they all got wiped out.
Well, there's in the Return of the Jedi, there's Mon Mothma. Is that her name? Yeah.
Mon Mothma did come out, yes. Jimmy Smith's character, which was Bail Organa, he did come out in Rogue One, and we also find out, of course, that he's heading to Alderaan. So we essentially know his fate. His fate is sealed, and we know what happens to him at that point in time. So it's kind of sad in that, but
What I find funny is this movie, it's a straight lead up into A New Hope, and it's just kind of interesting how fast events are from like the building of this space station, testing it out, to actually just rolling it out and using it as a planet killer, and then it just doesn't really last too long. That's when
exactly.
Luke Skywalker comes in and destroys it. So it's not like this thing had like a long time worth of usage like for the Empire.
Exactly.
It was basically it took years to build, all this drama surrounding it for this engineer, and everything, and it comes in, does its job for like maybe twice, and then unless there's side stories that say that it went and did all these other things, but
right, and I don't think it did really. They did actually. They used it a total of 3 times really. They destroyed Jeddah City, they destroyed the base at Scarif, and then they destroyed Alderaan. And that's the only times that we know of that it's used. I really don't think it got used any other times though. In conclusion, I really like the movie. I think it's a great addition to the Star Wars universe. I hope that they make more movies like this. It's really good. Something new, something fresh, something that's not about the Skywalkers or the Solos. And we never saw a good guy's lightsaber in this particular movie. So I just thought it was a fantastic movie, and I'm looking forward to see what Disney comes out with next after The Last Jedi.
Agreed. Same thing here. Yeah, I really enjoyed the film, and I'm looking forward to more.
All right, well, there you have it. That's our review of Rogue One, and thank you very much for watching. Please check out our other videos on the channel and subscribe to us, and we'll bring you more content. Give us some feedback also, if you will. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys in the near future.
Have a good one.